Hi again. We Why do I started with we? It's just me for the moment. So I decided to go now to the second point, um, described by Wallace in his book, The 7 Point Mind Training. So now I'm gonna read to you the first subchapter of the second point chapter. So, the main practice, training in the Bodhichitta. Directly or implicitly, the entire 7 point mind training deals with the cultivation of the two bodhicittas. Ultimate bodhicitta, that probes the nature of reality to realize its emptiness, and a relative bodhicitta, that aspires to attain full awakening out of compassion and loving kindness for all creatures. This second point of training includes both of these aspirations, beginning first with ultimate bodhicitta. I do have a bit of an issue with the ultimate bodhicitta. For me, it's difficult to understand nothingness because in order to understand it has something to interact with it. I think it's very Cartesian and causal, the way how I see it, very kind of linear. But because I'm used with the paradoxical thinking of the Buddhist teachings, I understand how nothing and something can exist together in the same time. I can see it happening rationally, but I have difficult times to understand how do I probe the nothingness, and because I can't probe the nothingness, well, this attempt is in a sense futile, and that kind of propels me back into myself, into whatever I probe, that thing that I think it's nothing. It propels back into my feelings and my sensations, and I end up this probing with the idea of it is what it is, and nothing else. I don't see how nothing can be more fundamental than something. But I see difficult to understand. Anyway, right, the first subchapter is called Having Attained Stability, Let the Mystery Be Revealed, the cultivation of ultimate bodhicitta. The verse introducing the second point identifies stability as a prerequisite for receiving the secret teachings. Before we can fruitfully investigate the nature of ultimate reality, it may be helpful to speak of the two types of stability that are necessary: essential and existential and theoretical. Although existential is a Western term, it is meaningful in the context of Buddha Dharma. If we are living with major psychological problems or experiencing an inner crisis of insecurity, if we have fundamental doubts about the meaning of life, if we suffer from very strong anger or attachment, these may be deemed existential issues. They concern the way we exist and the quality of our minds. Any kind of major psychological imbalance indicates a lack of existential stability. We are well advised first to put our house in order on this mundane level before probing the depths of the ultimate nature of reality. What are the indications of existential stability? Very important. Mental balance is felt as a sense of contentment, recognizing our own mental afflictions and knowing how to attenuate them gradually. A genuine sense of refuge is also extremely important. In To me, refuge in meditation, in the practice, I guess. In investigating the ultimate nature of reality, we are entering unexplored territory. The experience can be frightening, even terrifying. The more deeply we delve into the nature of our own personal identity and of external reality, the more important it is to have a real sense of trust in the teachings themselves, in their source, the Buddha Shakyamuni, as well as the spiritual friends who guide us on the path. So, for anyone who Buddha Shakyamuni and spiritual guides are realities, they are on the right path accordingly to the Buddhist teachings. I'm not there yet, I have to say. I see Buddha as a historical person, and I think I have spiritual guides. I've been born and raised as a Christian, and I do understand what a saint is, and I can relate to the so-called saints and angels, ascended beings. So I probably behave and act and think in a very, very, very similar way. But everything translated to a Christian context. Like I have a connection. I have a relationship with Jesus Christ, and the relationship with the saints. Yeah. So in that sense, I can easily understand and practice the relationship with Buddha Sakyamuni and the spiritual friends who guide us on our paths. It is worthwhile examining the difficulty so common in the West of integrating this sense of refuge with a reliance upon the full power of our own intelligence and innate wisdom. The scientist in us, the critical thinker, levels the finger, saying, "You Buddhists, Christians, followers of religion, have bound yourselves to one creed and are afraid to entertain any thought that may conflict with your doctrine. You have blinded yourselves and are not free to investigate reality." This is no easy criticism to shrug off, as it often contains an element of truth. And I do agree with that. But it is not the final word, and I do agree with this as well. To study science, we need confidence. Physics itself, the most fundamental of the hard sciences, demands our confidence in certain axioms, that the universe obeys mathematical laws, that the world behind appearances is coherent and accessible to our intellect. Without these assumptions, we cannot play the game. Further, if we lack faith in the scientific method and the immense body of previous experimentation, there is no way that we can engage in original research. If we doubt the integrity of generations of physicists before us, suspecting that the results of their experiments were distorted by such motives as profit, rivalry, or hope of tenure, we would then need to reproduce for ourselves the work of Newton, Kepler, Galileo, and others before them, checking all their mathematics. Then, are the mathematics really sound? We will have to test Pythagoras. Clearly, we cannot be a physicist without faith. But obviously, this is a different type of faith. We believe it's more real, it's more concrete, it's more palpable. It requires the full force of intelligence, but intelligence can function to its fullest only when we base it on a deep sense of faith. This is as true of Buddhism as it is of physics. The exercise of intelligence and the cultivation of faith are mutually compatible and enhance each other richly. It is all, and I tend to believe that this as well. It is also true that blind faith hampers the growth of wisdom. Agree? If we allow ourselves to be complacent and settle for a leap of faith instead of understanding, the critic has the right to question the findings of our investigation of reality. Yep. But placing our trust in Buddhist teachings, or a Buddhist teacher, or in the Buddha himself, does not mean putting on blinkers. Taking refuge is not an act of blind faith. It is based on our intelligence and understanding, but also goes beyond this. The knowledge that we have acquired in this lifetime, it's so utterly minute in comparison with the reality that surrounds us that we would be terribly constricted if we were to base our actions strictly on our present knowledge, because essentially we know nothing of what will happen 5 minutes from now, let alone a year or 50 years. While our knowledge has very definite demarcations, faith does not. A very pragmatic and useful utilization of faith. And I again do believe that we need stories that explains the world, not scientific stories but mythological stories. I think the mythos in us helps us exploring the unknown. It comes even before the most exploring the unknown through mythos comes way before exploring the unknown with a little bit of scientific based on a little bit of scientific evidence. And I think this is to me, this is how things work. I can't see the mythos out of being taken out. And even when we fundament our knowledge about the world and how it functions, I think there are constantly gaps. The mythos and the scientific knowledge, they permeate through each other. They work synergetically. I don't see a world that can function only based on the output of the scientific method. Wisdom doesn't work like that, like the scientific method. I would say Karl Popper would agree with me. But placing our trust in Buddhist teachings, or a Buddhist teacher, or the Buddha himself does not mean putting on blinkers, as I said. Taking refuge is not an act of blind faith. It is based on our intelligence and understanding, but also goes beyond this. And I already read this paragraph. Let's go further. A common analogy compares that blessings received from awakened beings to the sun shining down. Let's try again. A common analogy compares the blessings received from awakened beings to the sun shining down to the earth, shining down on the earth. A mind that has faith is like a cup turned upwards, and the sunlight floods into it. Nothing happens to the sun. We simply become accessible to a fantastic enrichment of our lives. As the blessings pour in, they nourish our lives, enhancing and cultivating wisdom. Wisdom, in turn, gives rise to greater faith, which in turn provides a broader foundation to the growth of wisdom. But lacking faith, our minds are closed to growth, not venturing beyond what we have already understood. Essential stability includes this sense of faith. Existential stability includes this sense of faith, but the cultivation of ultimate bodhicitta also requires what I would call theoretical stability, a firm grounding in conventional truth. Before looking deeply into the question of emptiness as taught in the Madhyamaka or centrist tradition, we must have a sound, though not necessarily elaborate, understanding of the significance of actions and their results, the relationship of virtue and non-virtue to well-being, and it is critically important to understand that these major facets of relative truth are in no way undermined by the teachings of emptiness. According to the Madhyamaka view, all phenomena exist as dependently related events. Because phenomena, including myself, you, and our communication here, exist as dependently related events, each of these phenomena is for this very reason devoid of intrinsic identity. So, because you see me, I exist. I can't apply this. Each of these entities does not truly exist inasmuch as it has no existence as in isolated, solitary, self-existent phenomenon. Rather, each one exists only as a dependently related event. I do see the world completely integrated, but I don't have a very good explanation for this. It's just a feeling. I don't see. Do I see myself separated from this mic? I do see myself separated from this mic, but are we made from the same type of components? Well, we have some carbon in both of us. We come from the same quantum field, or do we exist in the same quantum field? Maybe. Are we entangled? Maybe. I don't know. I have to contemplate on this on these questions. Again, I have a deep and strong feeling that we are interconnected. I don't doubt that. I can't make a rational argument for this. It's a bit difficult to me. Anyway, let's move on. Having attained stability, let the mystery be revealed. The teachings on shunyata or emptiness are called a mystery because they are not evident to the senses. We cannot experience this view of reality by simply gazing about us and observing appearances, because the ultimate mode of our existence, of ourselves, our bodies, our environment, is contrary to how it appears. Although it is mysterious in this sense, nevertheless it can be experienced, and this experience radically transforms the mind. Right. 20 minutes of reading one subchapter. Challenging. Very challenging this chapter is for me. The idea of emptiness. Challenging for my mind, but for my soul is not at all. I do agree with everything he said there. But there's still my mind that keeps telling me something similar to don't let yourself fooled, or 1 second. Yeah. Something similar to this. Don't let yourself fooled. It feels like I depart. If I fully believe in this, it feels like I'm departing from somewhere where I've been grounded and rooted for a long time. Maybe that voice that my mind articulates is more about sort of inability that I have in order to live in a different environment, having different, truly experiencing a different paradigm about this existence. Shunyata, the nothingness. Again, as I've said, is a very challenging concept to me. It's just intuitively I think that nothingness maybe nothingness could border the somethingness. I don't know which one of you have better ideas about how to explore nothingness. I would be glad to hear news from you, or drop me a text, a comment. Anyway, now let's go for 10 minutes. Do the meditation. So now just find a relaxed position. If you can, try not to fall asleep. today I worked the whole day, and literally an hour ago I arrived home. I'm tired. It was really difficult to keep my awareness and stay awake. I kept nodding and falling asleep, but I managed to barely stay awake. Wasn't a very deep meditation. I didn't go anywhere in terms of my sensations. I kept seeing some sort of images, but yeah, my mind tried to wander about and around a little bit, but mostly I was trying to not fall asleep. And because of that, I think I was impatient a little bit, and I was trying to just get to the end of the meditation so I could go to bed and sleep. But yeah, this was the challenge for today, my meditation challenge. Thank you for being with me again, and once again I invite you, please drop me a comment. Let's see if we can create something nice between us, the few inexperienced meditators, and see how we can help each other. Plus, I would love to have to belong to a community, people that are, in a sense, in a similar position like mine, in a similar situation in terms of meditation. People who just start now to have regular practice, like a daily practice. This is what I'm trying to do, to implement. Anyway, thank you for tonight, and hopefully see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.